Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Fan Friction. I'm your host, Jack Shipley. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us. We got a fun one today. We're going to be doing our first ever couples edition of the show, so I hope you enjoy that today. Let me introduce our couples real quick. They are the hosts of BFF right here on TUFF, which will air later on today. Please welcome Joe and Ashley Davis, Team Spies.
How's it going, everybody?
Hey, everybody. Excited to be here. Our cats are probably going to ruin everything that we say because one of them is real riled up right now. But you know what? It wouldn't be the BFFs without cat interruptions.
It's true. It's true.
It's damn true. And guys, our second guests are the hosts of Odd Shaped Channel, also on YouTube and our sister channel. So please check them out when you can. They are Tom Bennis and Kimber Barrett, Team Odd Couple.
The Odd Couple. We're the Odd Couple.
I said the Odd Couple.
Oh, I didn't hear you. Sorry.
I said with
it's a twofer.
And it's a twofer. Also on our channel.
Because there's two of us. Hi, everybody. We're happy to be here. Obviously, we just woke up.
And you may have noticed that because the two teams fighting today are normally our checker chair teams, we've gone to a special guest to help us check the facts. She makes robots, guys. I can't get enough of it. Please welcome back to our show, Kim Hanley. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Happy to be here. Looking forward to keeping these teams in check.
And guys, if you want to follow along with us on Twitter, our hashtag is ThisIsTuff. That's TUFF. Kim will be checking the Twitter and the chat room and making sure you guys stay honest throughout the show.
We'll do it.
All right, so let's get into it. Couples edition. What are we going to do today? So we have a couple of special rules. We're going to start, as always, with our speed rounds. We're going to go with Team Spice first. You guys will get to pick from one of these categories, just so everyone knows at home what's going to happen. They're going to confer and pick one answer. We have chosen today Joe for Team Spice, Kimber for the Odd Couple. They're the ones who shout out the answers, so none of the other answers will count unless you hear it from them. And then they'll take turns fighting it out. One of them has to do the first 30 seconds. The other one has to do the back 20 seconds. And then we'll pick a winner and we'll go into round one. So let's get it started. Joe and Ashley, here are today's categories. Guns and Ammo, Jack of Diamonds, BFF, Nothing's Free on Waterworld or Sing Street.
I mean, we're going to have to go with
BFF.
I mean, why not? We're narcissistic over here.
Yeah.
I didn't think that one was going to get picked today. Okay.
And
So guys,
so
feel free to confer with yourselves over the answer. And then Joe and Kimber, when you're ready, you can shout out your answers. So the question today for BFF, who are TV's best friends? There's much whispering taking place. Basically, we can't hear anything. Everybody's afraid of giving away their answers. I feel like I'm a golf announcer. Joe and Ashley working together, leaning in. Tom and Kimber choosing a pick here. The serious look on everyone's faces. Let's look in.
Sean and Gus from Psych.
Sean and Gus from Psych. And Tom and Kimber.
We're going to choose Castiel and Dean from Supernatural.
And Dean, right now, Raul is very happy with you guys. Because he loves Supernatural. Okay, so here's how it's going to work. Joe and Ashley, who's going to go first and who's going to go second?
I'm going to go first.
All right. Okay. And same thing for you guys. Who's going to go first and second?
I would volunteer myself as tribute.
All right, you're going first. Kimber's closing it out. All right, let me just
Do you mind repeating the question again, just so I can have
Absolutely. It's who are TV's best friends? Who are TV's best friends? All right, time will start. You have 30 seconds. Whenever you're ready, Ashley, you may begin.
All right, Sean and Gus from Psych are TV's best friends because they literally started a company together. They have been friends since childhood. And even though they don't always see eye to eye, they always find a way to work together. Like Gus has done so much for Sean. Sean has done so much for Gus. Like they help each other out all the time. They, man, 30 seconds is a long time. They're there for each other, even when they've made each other mad and they've had, problems in relationships with boyfriends. They're there. Yeah.
All right. So now, Tom, you're leading it off for Castiel and Dean.
From the moment Castiel pulled Dean out of hell, we knew there was something special between these two. Everyone in the fandom either loves them as best friends or goes either farther, trying to put them together and ship them, as we all know. It is fan fiction fodder because it is such a good relationship. You say that they bicker back and forth and they get back together at the end. There's seasons that go by where like we don't know how like Dean and Castiel are, and that's not a testament of friendship.
All right, and now Joe, you have the back end whenever you're ready. That sounded dirty.
Trying to use the Supernatural's fan base as an argument for why people love Castiel and Dean is really dangerous territory because they are a really messed up fan base considering they have Wincest as a thing. So going even further, Sean and Gus, they complement each other super well because they use each other's skills. Sean's BSing, Gus's super sniffer, and being magic head. Super important.
Time. Kimber, close us out.
Cass and Dean are constantly saving each other's lives. The stakes are huge. Cass literally will move heaven and earth to do anything for Dean. Anywhere they go, no matter what happens, he is always there if he answers the phone. Having this human and angel overcoming everything that they need to get through to become friends is massive. There's no other friendship like this.
Time. Awesome. Great first round, guys. Or first speed round, rather. So we're going to go to Kim, who is listening in, and get your feedback. What did you think of the arguments today?
Well, it was definitely an interesting spin trying to say that Castiel and Dean are the best set of best friends because they might be more than best friends. Like that was sort of an interesting place to take that. Over in the chat, a lot of people were saying that Turk and JD from Scrubs were as an obvious choice.
Oh yeah.
And Nolan threw out Kim Possible and Ron Stoppable as just a great dynamic duo. I like it. You could easily go either way. I think maybe Sean and Gus come out a little bit ahead as best friends just because they do sort of match up that way, like childhood friends, the whole lives through, blah blah blah.
I am of a similar opinion. Also, I didn't think Kimber and Tom really attacked Sean and Gus at all, whereas Joe had really great rebuttals for why the Supernatural pair were not the right answer. So for me, Sean and Gus would get the point. So you guys get the point. Good job, Team Spice. Well done.
Yeah.
Good job. Rough. So that means, I didn't do this. Let me put my little scorecard down here. Spice odd. All right, so Spice gets a point. And that means you guys have control of round one. Who wants to go first? Which team first? Which team second?
Want to go first?
I mean, I don't have a preference, so.
We'll go first.
All right. Guys, the question for round one. Blade Runner 2049 has performed poorly at the box office despite its largely favorable reviews from critics and fans, including me. We want to know who gives the best character performance in either Blade Runner film. So I'm going to start with Team Spice today, then, and get your choice. Your time starts.
We're going to go.
Oh, I didn't explain. I didn't explain this. Sorry, 1 second. One of you guys is going to do your intro, and one of you guys is going to do your final thoughts today. That's my wife. Say hello.
Hi, wife.
Who doesn't normally walk through. So one of you guys is going to go first. One of you guys is going to go second. Who's going to start us off today? Joe. Got it. Sorry, Joe. Didn't mean to interrupt.
No problem.
Whenever you're ready.
I will. We are going to go with Harrison Ford as Rick Deckard in Blade Runner 2049 as a performance that was largely could have hinged on the success or failure of this because it's Harrison Ford reprising a character that he's played in the past, a beloved character that he's played in the past.
Do you want to say anything else?
I was going to let them do their intro and then.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Team Odd Couple. What'd you guys pick?
Yeah, to me, there was one clear and true choice to this question, and I went with Rutger Hauer as Roy Batty.
All right. Awesome. All right, Joe, start us off.
All right. So with Harrison Ford replaying a character that's beloved in the past, we have before this movie came along, a 50-50 record of successfully reprising beloved characters, terribly in Indiana Jones and incredibly successfully as Han Solo. But the only fear going into this that we had was, like, would he detract from the other performances? Like, would it steal the spotlight? And it didn't. And it was an incredibly powerful and subtle performance that relied mostly on his ability to present his attitude facially without even saying too much. I think he's got like 7 lines in the whole film.
Yeah.
He's doing his intro thing.
Oh, no, we did the intro.
Yeah,
no, that was just the introduction. This is the intro.
We can argue. Oh. I thought we were just...
It's our first time. We haven't been back in a month. It's okay. Let me give Tom and Kimber just a chance real quick to tell us why they picked their choice, and then I'll let you guys fight it out.
Go for it.
Okay. Yeah, I picked our choice because Roy added so much to the first Blade Runner movie, and a lot of that is in part to Rutger Hauer's performance. I see him as a character actor who is irreplaceable in this role. I cannot picture anybody else as Roy. He literally wrote the Tears in the Rain speech for his character. He was living inside this character. So that's why a few reasons I chose Roy.
All right, guys, punch each other.
You say that no one else could play Rutger Hauer. I can think of at least 2 other. Yeah, Roy Batty. No one else could replace Rutger Hauer as Roy Batty. I can think of at least 2 people that can at least nail the look of Roy Batty, and that's.
If they nail the look, that doesn't mean they're going to write the speech.
So anyone else could have written that speech.
The whole tone, more human than human.
But the point I'm getting at is he was basically like Billy Idol and Sting in the same time era, and he was portraying it facially.
We're not talking about who has the best physical appearance in Blade Runner. We're talking about who did the best performance, and that's what I'm arguing for Rutger Hauer.
About his performance, he's
talking about bringing back Harrison Ford, and you give several other examples of similar things that he's just done recently. He's doing the Harrison Ford thing in a movie, reprising an old character again, doing the same thing. I really don't think that the new Blade Runner movie added that much to what his character is. I think that the first Blade Runner movie was far more interesting for his character.
He doesn't have to add to what the character is. He's portraying the character well and bringing the performance into an era that works well.
Go ahead, Joe.
It's also the fact that, like, with Rutger Hauer, the parts that you're focusing on is what he says, and film is at its core a visual media, and Harrison Ford doesn't have to deliver that many lines to show the intensity. When you can act off of Jared Leto and actually do well, that's an impressive thing to do. And when he's talking about Rachel and the things about their lives, and they're listening to the audio, watching his face, you can see the rage and the heartbreak that he's going through. And being able to pull that off without even using a line is immensely impressive.
Yeah, I would argue that let's compare Rutger Hauer's face to Harrison Ford's face and see how much emotion's conveyed. When Rutger Hauer kills Tyrell, you can see that not only is he killing his father, he's killing his own God, he's having his own existential crisis, and he doesn't say anything.
And you're arguing that Harrison Ford is doing a better job just sitting there? That's ridiculous. Dialogue is what makes movies. Roy is completely interesting. He's not just a mustache-twirling villain. He is scared to die. Rutger Hauer himself argues that he's not a villain, because what is the villain? You know, he's just a man who wants to live.
And you say he's a Bond villain. He's more than that. He's a Bond villain and his muscle wrapped into one.
Let me give Ashley a bit here. I want to hear from you, Ash. Tell me more about your pick.
We went with Harrison Ford because, you know, like, compared to like the first movie, it is hard to come back 30 years later, you know, when the franchise didn't do as well in the first movie. You know, we've seen with Indiana Jones that if Harrison Ford doesn't care about something, the product is not going to be good. Obviously, he put some care into this role. Sure, he's not in the movie a whole lot, but the little moments that we get with him, we don't even see him on screen at first. We hear his voice when Kay shows up at his compound in Vegas, and like I hope you have like a bit of cheese with you for the whole dog moment. And just him and Kay's back and forth is wonderful, with Harrison Ford being so snarky about not wanting to answer Kay's questions. And then the scene with Jared Leto is so like heartbreaking, like Joe said earlier, when they're playing that audio of Rachel and just the range of emotions that Harrison Ford goes through. And then when they bring out the actual Rachel doppelganger and he looks her over, it's like, look, I have this gift for you. And you just see like the anger in his face. And then when he says her eyes were green, I mean, there's just so much of, it's just such a beautiful performance. And then the end of the movie where he,
spoiler alert, just letting everyone know this might spoil. Don't listen if you don't want to hear. Go ahead,
when
sorry.
they're, you know, sitting in front of the like memory station, like the building he's about to meet, like the most important person in his life, the reason why he's had to like give up so much. And the anguish that he sees, like, you know, the anguish that he has about not wanting to go in that building and then seeing his child for the first time and him putting his hand on the window, like my heart broke for him at that moment. And then for it just to end there, leaving us wanting so much more. The trailer, you know, let us see that, yeah, he's in that movie. We were waiting for him the whole time. And so his performance, you know, it could have messed up the whole movie, but it didn't. It added a lot to it, that anguish that he was going through, all the hardships over the years of him having to live in hiding and not being able to be with the ones he loved.
You know.
Okay. Okay, first off, Deckard wouldn't even be alive for 2049 if Roy Batty didn't save his life. Roy Batty had a moment of clarity where he saw the value of life. He died, and he's like, why put another death on the scale? Like, it's not worth it. He doesn't depart him with a big, like you said before, Bond villain. He doesn't do this. He gives him wisdom. He tells him about his own experiences. And I think that's what makes Deckard in 2049 who he is. His experience from knowing Roy Batty.
And Roy sets up 2049. He has a full-blown discussion with Dr. Tyrell about replicants with longer lifespans, and they actually discuss how that could be a possibility, but it isn't working right now. Roy is as essential to your movie happening as the character that's in the movie. To me, Harrison Ford is very similar to Deckard. Like, I think that his Han Solo character and his Indiana Jones is more of an acting job because they are upbeat and charming and happy. When I see Harrison Ford in interviews, he is stoic and has a weird way about him, and he's much more similar to Deckard. I feel like Hauer was doing something that was not just Rutger Hauer. He was giving you a character that's completely different.
Starting him having a moment of clarity and wisdom at the end of the movie doesn't detract from the Bond villain performance he gave the entire film up till then. Like, it doesn't actually change the fact that maybe that moment was good, and maybe if they let Rutger Hauer write some of it, it would have been okay. But look, other than the speech, the rest of it is like campy.
You keep making this Bond comparison. Roy Batty didn't want to take over the world or deplete the oil fields. He just wanted to live. A year would have been good. Another 5 years would have been great. He just wanted to live. He's not somebody who's after world domination. He's not a Bond villain. He's just
I'm not speaking to motivation. I'm speaking to the quality of his hammy performance.
Well, motivation's a big part of character, and he pulls that off really well.
And you want to talk about cliches? Your dude is Harrison Ford being Harrison Ford as like the cop role in a noir. Like, there's
so he embodies
it's weird for you to bash him.
Like he
embodies always breaks the trope, which isn't like you can say, oh, breaking trope's a good thing. No, there's certain reasons trope exists. In a film noir, we have them in each movie. We have the femme fatale. We have the use of lighting, and you can even say jazz music, except 2049 didn't have any jazz music.
Really sad.
But you can also say that every film noir, the main hero, the protagonist, he suffers in some way. In Blade Runner, he lives, and yes, I guess he runs off of Rachel. You know what I mean? He has a happy ending, kind of. And then 2049 he finds his daughter. Like, it doesn't feel like it's a noir. It doesn't live up to a noir.
Finding his daughter is not the point. The point is, even going into that, there is the moment before he walks in to meet his daughter, and he has the back and forth with Kay, and you can tell he's trying to like drag that out as long as possible because he's procrastinating, because he's too nervous to meet his daughter. Because what if she hates him? What if she doesn't want to say anything to him? What if she doesn't know who he is? What if he can talk to her for a few minutes and then she dejects him? He doesn't know what's going to happen. It's that fear of the unknown you can see in his face that he pulls off
His
super
daughter's more
well.
interesting than he is.
Yeah, I feel like the Deckard is one of those characters that the questions are more interesting than the character. Is he a replicant? Is he going to get along with his daughter? That's far more interesting than what he's actually delivering in the role.
Doesn't have to be a interesting and intense character. A good performance, like you can pull off an incredibly fantastic character that's still not like this hyper fantastical, amazing artistic personality. He's just
but
he throws it off.
Rutger Hauer did have an interesting dynamic character that made you think. This man made you think about things like what happens to memories when they die, like what is the value of life, all the things that are the major themes in Blade Runner that people talk about that make it a profound and interesting movie 30 years later. The reason it's getting a sequel is because of the shit that Roy Batty is discussing in the film. He is more human than humans. He is the reason that Blade Runner is still talked about. He is the dynamic character.
Here's what I like to do. So I'd like to get into final thoughts. I want to start with Team Spice. Ashley, I believe you're the one closing us out for this. I really want to understand why the performance of Harrison Ford as Deckard is better than Rutger Hauer's performance as Batty.
All right, so I think that Harrison Ford's performance in 2049 is better than Rutger Hauer as Roy Batty in the original Blade Runner. Like the Tears in the Rain speech is one thing, like that's what is like most memorable about that character. That's a beautiful speech, is a beautiful piece of cinema. But again, coming back to a character, you know, he's done it before, but he hasn't always done it well. We don't really get to see a whole lot of Ford in the movie, which I think is a good thing. But what he does with the minimal screen time he has is so brilliant. When he's fighting with Kay in the like Las Vegas showroom at the hotel, when he's acting against Jared Leto, you know, who is so creepy as Wallace, when they're discussing like the secrets of like, you know, how this whole replicant situation has happened. When we see him like placing his hand on the glass at the end of the movie, he does so much more with his facial expressions than I think what Rutger Hauer was able to achieve as Roy Batty. I think he does a lot more with a fewer amount of screen time than what he's able to achieve.
All right, and who's closing us out on Odd Couple? Kimber or Tom?
Me.
Tom.
Yep.
Whenever you're ready.
Look, not only is you say the Tears in the Rain is his most memorable scene, it's the most memorable scene of the movie. We watched an interview of Harrison Ford on David Letterman about, you know, his character Deckard. They showed the trailer, and it was Batty chasing Deckard, and Deckard didn't have a single line in the clip, and Harrison Ford was the guest. Like, that's how drawn people are to Roy Batty's character. And I totally disagree with you with the facial expression thing. Like, Rutger Hauer is a genius. You can look at his other Hobo with a Shotgun. He's like, he is capable of so much action with his face, even with camp like Buffy and the Vampire Slayer.
Well, definitely keep it to this movie though.
Yeah, I'm just okay, but
you gotta.
I don't know what it says.
Okay.
I mean, sorry.
It's okay.
But I mean, overall, this is, I think, the biggest part about Rutger Hauer's character is that he is, his motivation is like he has a clear motivation throughout the whole movie. Deckard is just reacting to, like, in any situation, he's just reacting to stuff that is thrown to him, and the reaction is usually a blank face. I don't see it that he's easily replaceable, and I think that point is made clear with Ryan Gosling's performance. Like, he wasn't in more than 20 minutes of the movie because he wasn't needed for more than 20 minutes of the movie. His action scene was kind of lame. I don't know. That's all I'm gonna have to say. I think Rutger Hauer is the obvious choice. He wasn't even on our Harrison Ford wasn't even on our short list.
All right, guys. Well done. Well fought. Let's go to Kim for checking of the facts and see what the Twitterverse and YouTube had to say.
So as far as their arguments were going, it all seemed pretty clean from what I was able to pull out. an interesting fact is that Philip K. Dick, who's the author, original story that this is based off of, praised both Hauer and Ford for their performances in their respective roles. He thought they both fit them perfectly, so there's no there's no bias in terms of that. But Ridley Scott did cast Hauer sight unseen, just going off of previous roles and films that he had been in. He just booked Hauer, and that was the end of that story. So as far as chat goes, they're leaning heavily towards The Odd Couple. There's just a lot in there talking about how strong his performance was as the villain, and how, especially compared against Leto, he had so much more, he gave so much more for them to work with in his role, and that Ford's was just very limited, and he wasn't able to really do a lot with it in 2049 compared to what Deckard could do in the original. So they're leaning heavily in The Odd Couple corner.
Did anyone and real quick, just so you know, Odd Couple, I was muting your mic there for a second. We're having a lot of feedback coming through. If you guys have your headphones nearby, that would be perfect. But don't leave yet, because let me pick the winner of this round. So did they actually say other picks besides Deckard and Batty? Kim?
Nothing that really jumped out at me. Scrolling through, they were mostly just picking sides and going back and forth over the same arguments that the two teams were.
Gotcha. I actually think Joy is the best performance in either two movies. What?
We talked about that last night too.
I do. I think it's Joy, but she's not in this fight. You guys picked two great choices here today, so let me talk about them real quick. I think Team Spice definitely talked about how important it was coming back to a role that he's done before, not to screw it up, and I definitely feel that he did not ruin that. Roy Batty wrote his own lines for what is probably the most memorable scene in the entire movie. His emotional performance, both of them had emotional performances, especially since we're talking 2049. For Deckard, I think he had an emotional performance as well. We talked a lot, we spent some time talking about like what the character actually did in the film, but then what the key point was, I think that Spice kind of talked down the motivation, but I think that Tom really came back with the argument that motivation is a big part of who Roy Batty is. It's the whole point of his character. And I did like his final argument about how the trailer is more focused on Roy Batty than it is on Deckard. And I kind of agree with that. I am also going to pick The Odd Couple. So you guys get the point. Well done. I don't know that we have polls today because I forgot to tell Kim to do polls, but it's okay if we don't.
Not at the moment, but
it sounds like The Odd Couple was the favorite.
Recruiting somebody to try to help out with that.
Awesome. Normally the people who make our polls are sitting on the couches. Yeah. So guys, really great job. Well done. So we're tied up 1-1, and we're going into speed round 2 here. We'll give them a second just to set up a headset so we don't hear some feedback if we can. And then you guys will get to pick the next speed round question. Was this the one you guys are doing for BFF tonight? This next
round, yes.
Yeah, awesome. So we'll plug that as well. Just want to make sure you guys can hear us okay in your headsets. Perfect.
Yep.
Thank you, guys. All right, so we have chosen BFF, so that's no longer on the list. Kimber and Joe, remember you are choosing the answers for these rounds. Here's your categories, Team Odd Couple. We got Guns and Ammo, Jack of Diamonds, Nothing's Free on Waterworld, or Sing Street.
Sing Street.
Sing Street. Awesome. This one will make Raul very happy as well. Your question is, what is the best TV show with musical numbers?
Toast of London.
Toast of London. I hope Ashley has seen it.
Flight of the Conchords.
And Flight of the Conchords. Awesome. Of Conchords. And I'll just say the word Glee just for Raul. All right. So who is going to go first on Team Spice?
I will.
All right. So time begins as soon as I get my stopwatch going. Okay. You have 30 seconds whenever you're ready. Go for it.
a fantastic comedy from England about a British actor named Stephen Toast, portrayed by Matt Berry, who is also a consummate musician in his own right. Each episode features an original song by Matt Berry that is related to what's going on in the episode, and it's all like a like ballroom comedy, jazz style, and it's just a hilarious show. It usually has a lot of the other characters from the series or the particular episode involved in it. The music is always like very unique. It has its own style. Apart from.
All right, Flight of the Conchords. Who's going to be going first for Team Odd Couple?
I will.
All right, whenever you're ready, Kimber.
Yeah, Ashley and Joe actually recommended this Toast of London show, and I like it, but it reminded me of a not as good Flight of the Conchords. Flight of the Conchords is a great show from HBO with Brett McKenzie, who actually went on to do things like write the songs for the Muppet movies and win crazy amounts of awards there. Jermaine Clement, who later went on to do Moana, he's in the Shiny routine. This is a springboard that came for even greater things for these guys later on, and the show is amazing, hilarious. The music is excellent. They tour.
Time. Okay, Ashley.
Thinking.
No problem. Time starts when you begin speaking. Hi, everybody. I'm Jack. Camera's on.
All right. You mentioned your show's accolades outside of it. Matt Berry has several studio albums. He's done songs for other shows, like his previous show, Snuffbox. He wrote an entire musical. It was a parody of Jesus Christ Superstar called like AC something. It was like AB something British or whatever. I don't know. But it's a hilarious show. Songs fit with it.
Time. All right. And Tom, you're closing this out.
So not only does Flight of the Conchord give us some of the coolest themed episodes, there was a whole episode where Jermaine was doing Bowie skits, and it actually probably led to how he got the role in Moana, because that was supposed to be for David Bowie. They have large genres of music that they cover, and they do it really well. They have some of the most beautiful harmonies that I've heard on television, and their chemistry outside of singing, I think, adds to
Time. All right. Kim, listening to the two arguments, which one would you pick?
I kind of let you down this round. I had a couple of people volunteer to do polls, and I was trying to figure out which one of them was actually going to do it.
Not a problem.
So I can't really help you this time.
That's okay. I have a choice in my head. Okay, so when I was listening to the two arguments, the thing I heard the most about was what everyone else has gone on to do and has done aside from the two shows. But the only person who gave me enough information about their show itself and what the music was in the show was Joe, with the original songs, British funny comedy that incorporates a new original song in every episode. And that's what I got out of it. So, Joe, you get the point. Spice, Team Spice gets the point. Well done. Woo!
Thank you, Matt Berry.
I will cheer for ourselves. Okay. So that means you get to, again, choose the order for round two. Who would you like to go first? Who would you like to go second?
The Odd Couple will go first.
All right. Odds going first. All right. So here's how we're going to do it, just to be a little bit clearer, because last time I was unclear about this. So Odd Couple. Whoever's going to go first, take a minute or so and just kind of tell us about your pick and why you guys picked it. Then we'll go over to Team Spice. You guys will do the same. Pick one person to sort of tell me about the thing. Then we'll fight it out. And then when we get to final thoughts, whoever didn't go first will go second and give the final thoughts, just like in the first round. So Odd Couple, whenever you are ready, who's going to start us off today?
We need to
Discuss about that for a second.
We also need the question, Jack.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah. Well, you know, I guess that's important. Do we find somebody, by the way, for the polls, Kim?
Yeah, we've got David Bowman. He jumped in. And helped
David
us out.
Bowman. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. So, guys, follow along at hashtag This Is Tough. Look at David Bowman's Twitter. He will be tweeting out the polls, and then we'll get a poll for round two. Okay, so Tom and Randall recently explored the world of Fallout for the first time on oh crap, what's the name of the show? Because I didn't write it down. Tom.
Odd Shaped Plays.
Odd Shaped Plays.
Odd Shaped Plays.
Sorry about that. I had Fallout, but not Odd Shaped Plays. So in honor of Fallout's 20-year history, we asked the following question. What is the best movie that takes place in a post-apocalyptic future? So Odd Shaped, oh God, these names. The Odd Couple, you're first. Who's going to go first?
I am.
All right, Kimber. What'd you guys pick?
Okay, so we picked a horrifying potential future that feels like it could actually happen, where everything is based on consumerism and sedentary lifestyle, where you literally don't live a life. You're just stuck in a chair all day staring at a screen with no human interaction. So this grim reality is presented to us in WALL-E.
Great. Who's going first for Team Spice?
I am.
Hit it up, Ash, whenever you're ready.
Right. So our movie is one where we've caused some problems, and by trying to actually fix the global warming issue that we're currently having, we actually made it worse and caused another ice age. And so now humanity is literally on a runaway train going in a circle all over the world in the movie Snowpiercer, where there is a class system that is very demarcated, where the people at the front of the train are in the upper class, and then the people in the back cart are the lower class, and they're treated very poorly. And it's a good exploration of, in a post-apocalyptic future, like how the different classes would treat each other and how the people in the lower classes would want to rise up to try to get up to the, you know, the upper class. But also the fact that it's on this train, it's a contained environment, and just the interesting dynamic of, like, you have all of these people, populations are still growing. How do you maintain civilization on a train that's never supposed to stop? Because if it stops, everybody dies because of the freezing cold conditions outside, and just the social dynamics.
You know,
so the thing about a post-apocalyptic world is it's destroyed for the most part. Like, whether or not there are humanity living on the world or whatever, it is typically there's a lot of suffering involved. Somebody's suffering. And unfortunately, because, and I know it's partially the nature because it's marketed to kids, in WALL-E, there is not actually legitimate, like, overt suffering. There is, like, the existential suffering of the fact that humanity isn't really humanity anymore. They're just a bunch of people in chairs watching TV. But nobody's, like, in pain, and nobody's, like, just, like, they're not having to try. Nothing is trying. They're living in a utopian society in space, and the only person who, in theory,
Dystopian
would be
society. That's
regardless,
a nightmare, Joe. Think about it. Is that really what you want to do with your life? That's what's scary about it, is that we could really end up there. And you saying that it's not important and you saying that it's comfortable is what's wrong with this. That you're taking away people's free will. They are just staring at screens. There is no life.
But that, plus the fact that they're not eating, you know, cockroaches and crickets ground up into ration gelatin bars, and their kids taken from them, and their arms being stuck outside of this train and being lopped off because they chose to speak up. That's the
whole thing. Choose. They have choice in the matter. They could either eat these cricket things, starve, or eat babies. It's up to them. Like, they have choice in this situation.
Yeah, that's not a choice. That's literally not a choice. Like, I
just listed 3.
But there's a choice to eat babies? Did I miss that part of the movie?
Yes, you did.
In the very beginning of the movie.
Oh, I forgot that.
In the very beginning of the movie, or the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
Curtis talking about the tough choices of the
Chris Evans. Jack didn't even remember.
I didn't remember eating the babies.
You dinged my movie for being marketed towards children. I think that's one of the most important things about our movie, is that it's opening up kids to the idea of, this is the horrible place that we could end up if we don't take any responsibility for the actions that we make as humans on this planet. Like, this is about as post-apocalyptic. This is about as post-apocalyptic as you can get, because it's 700 years after the apocalyptic event. Literally, the whole world is destroyed. You're seeing a post-apocalyptic event from a scale that you don't get to see in a movie, really. Like, you're not only seeing it from, already here's the destroyed world and we're not even on it anymore because there's nothing left, but you're also seeing it from the perspective of a character that's not human. So he allows you to judge humans separately from being one. Like, he's giving you a point of view that you're not going to get from a movie like Snowpiercer.
Saying WALL-E isn't human is about, it would be the same as me saying Roy Batty isn't human. Because WALL-E is
he's more human than human. Nice pull. I have that on my notes, actually. But
WALL-E, you tried to point out, like, trying to see it through the point of view of somebody who's not human. That's a misnomer, because WALL-E is, for the lack of a better term, a person. He is,
especially compared to the people in the movie. Yeah, but people in the movie are more sheep than anything.
those are very happy sheep with their life, though. Like the people on the train, they know their life. If they live in that back cart, they know their life is horrible. The people in Wall-E don't know any better. It's been too long.
And you
can see the progression of like even the captain's photos of like how like society has changed, but like they're happy with it. They don't know any better. If they go back to Earth, they're all gonna die. That one plant is not gonna restore humanity.
And it's not some weird destructive happy. It's not like Logan's Run over here where their lambs led to the slaughter. They're chilling, and it's not ideal. It's not great. And yeah, I'd love to have the freedom of choice. I wouldn't want to live in either. But the point is, I would rather, if I had to choose between these worlds, I would rather live in Wall-E. Because it's not.
That's sad to me that you would.
Terrible.
I think that's terrible that you would.
I would rather that than being forced to shove my arm out of a train and then smashed off because it was frozen to solid ice. I would rather that than my children.
So you would rather nothing happen to you ever. You would rather them tell you to wear blue and now you wear blue and now you just consume and now you're this and now you're that. That's terrible. I would not.
Then having my kids taken away from me and forced to be the replacement.
Choosing to have kids is a choice, though. That's the thing. Like they still get to have kids. These people don't even talk to each other. There's no communication at all. It's a nightmare, dude.
I had no idea this round was going to go this way. This is fantastic.
But
and you want to talk about post-apocalyptic?
Their kids are taken from them and used to be replacement parts for a train. Like that is like a fate I would never wish on a parent. Kids, and I would never want that for anyone. Because it's this nightmare situation, and then to be treated as dehumanized by people higher up in the train because of the class system. Like when they show up in the classroom and are trying.
That's like the worst part. Like all the propaganda that the upper class people are fed about the people at the back of the cart
by other humans.
Yeah, like they're just a bunch of dirty people and they're evil and like like everybody honor Willard, the train conductor. He is God. He is everything and.
I liked that type a bit better in Hunger Games and all the other movies that are very similar to this. I wasn't even really sure.
But we're not arguing either of those movies. We're not arguing those movies. We're arguing.
Let's just talk about the realism between these two things. The stuff in Wall-E can and actually is happening. There are people who literally do not look up from their phones. Whereas your movie is about a train that runs infinitely.
That's happened for
no matter how the ice buildup goes. People in that train would be atrophied. Like there's no way they'd be able to have these cool fight scenes. Your movie's just trying to be something profound, and the raid meets something.
And yours is not trying to be profound in something.
Because
Mars is trying to teach a life lesson. How many kids now are going to go into environmental?
Trying to argue that my train running for 17 to 18 years is unrealistic when your starship runs for 700 with no extra
That's 700 years in the future. I don't.
Yeah, no, that's
starting. It has look in Wall-E they are looking for life on Earth. How more dystopian can you get? They are looking for life on Earth.
So they're doing the same thing in Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer, we see a polar bear. Like it's clearly fine.
All right, so here's what I'd like to do. So I feel like I've gotten the differences between the two movies. So what I'd like to do is go into final thoughts, and I'd like to start with Tom. I guess you're closing us out here. Tom, I want you to focus on why your movie is a better movie than Wall-E. Oh, excuse me, than Snowpiercer. Yeah, why is Wall-E the better movie over Snowpiercer? Final thoughts.
Wall-E's a better movie than Snowpiercer because the biggest thing about it is a sense of awakening and hope. As Wall-E comes into these different people's lives, he knocks the guy off his chair, and the guy's like has a real interaction with the person. He's never talked to a robot before then, or anything like anyone besides a voice or a video feed. And they do the same thing every day where they either play video golf or watch something. Like the list of stuff for them to do is very narrow. They are already bored of it. So I don't think you say ignorance is bliss, but they are very aware that it's not the best. You talk about your classroom thing. They do the exact same thing, and they're little babies, like Clockwork Orange style in Wall-E. Okay, they don't have the little eye things, but it's the video monitor and all like that. Like your kids at least still can talk it back. This is straight up brainwashing from toddler form. And I mean, my movie just seems to make more sense. Yes, there's a robot, but at that point, why wouldn't there be? I think that a a robot on Earth trying to clean up. I think that mission is very believable, trying to salvage the only planet. God that they waited 700 years to come back, because now finally the conditions are right. It is the real conditions of post-apocalypse. Like, it's not during the post-apocalypse. It's not 15, 17 years after the post-apocalypse. It is showing humans' resurgence, or the promise of humans' resurgence. We're at the end of Snowpiercer, a kid who only knew about a train car. She didn't get a formal education. And a kid. Like, there's no means. I think there might have been another guy, I don't remember. But there's, like, no means for them to survive. Like, what is the clairvoyant kid going to be like, let's just live in the train? That would be smart, but I doubt it. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Somehow the train is long enough that if it's around a bend, you could shoot through a window and go through another window of the train. Like, nothing about it makes sense. Ours is a real depiction of, like, a capitalistic takedown. And I think that's what yours tries to be, but it's feudalism. It's not even good feudalism. Like, they can't keep a narrow beat on what they're trying to be in your movie. It's Hunger Games on a train.
All right, Joe.
So you brought up Hunger Games on a train, and that I don't see how that doesn't work, because that is their only environment. The claustrophobia adds to an intense like fear of survival. The world is absolutely destroyed, just like the other one that talks about the post-apocalypse. It's a world that we're provided because we tried to fix our own mistakes, and we tried to fix them quickly and directly. The class system is a big problem in that movie that it pushes down. You talk about in WALL-E how they don't really have the choice because it's just given to them. I mean, it's the same thing. The difference is in Snowpiercer, it's given to them violently. And the one thing that Snowpiercer definitely has over WALL-E is sheer performance power. Because not only do we have Chris Evans, we have Tilda Swinton, we have Ed Harris, we have Octavia Spencer, we have John Hurt.
Sorry.
All of them giving power.
There we go. Not you. My phone, which will not stop.
Technology.
I know. See? You made your point. You win the point.
WALL-E.
giving powerful performances that just shatter what this movie was. Because what it looked like from the trailers was terrible, but when you sit down and watch it, it's just this amazing set piece of survival and rebellion and redemption and trying to make things better when there's not a lot of hope, but you got to keep it alive. You also brought up that like there's really no chance for survival for these people at the end of Snowpiercer. That doesn't make it a bad post-apocalyptic movie. It's actually kind of jarring that WALL-E, that they could survive. Those people should not be able to do anything ever. So shoving that ending in our face where they're like rebuilding society and it's hundreds of years later, et cetera, that detracts from the whole intensity of the situation to me.
Awesome. Great fight. Wow, this is way more I did not expect it to go this way, actually. This went really, really sideways quick. So let's start with Kim. So Kim, don't tell me what they sided with, but what were the facts, and then what other picks did the Twitterverse have?
Okay, so fight-wise, nothing really stood out as blatantly off base. I mean, they did kind of go down the rabbit hole of which post-apocalypse is more apocalyptic there for a little bit. So it's kind of interesting to see that argument go down. We got in the chats, we saw Road Warrior pop up a couple of times. Zombieland. Let's see, 12 Monkeys got thrown out as a does it count or doesn't it count? Just because so much of the time the movie's in the past. So that was kind of being questioned. But yeah, there was a Children of Men also, which was a fantastic dystopian future if you want to go down that route. So that was another good suggestion in there.
I also like Book of Eli is one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Book of Eli. You turned that one upside down.
The reveal at the end of that is fantastic. Not to give it away for anybody.
And it's great to rewatch once you have the reveal, because it's fun to watch how that plays out knowing the reveal. I really enjoyed that movie. All right, awesome. So was there a poll this time? Don't tell me what the results were.
There was, and
awesome.
It came out extremely close, but there was
There's a winner. Awesome. All right. So wow. I did not expect this level of breakdown of dystopian Wall-E that we got. I feel bad about my phone now, but I'm still going to look at it a lot. So when I compare the two worlds, both of them are post-apocalyptic worlds. But I really was, while I understand the horrors that you guys were trying to portray, at the same time, all of those people are safe in space, and they are comfortable, and they have pools. Not that they're using them because they're too big, but like the Wall-E, while the Wall-E world is a representation of the horrors of consumerism, at the same time, I don't necessarily feel like those people are in a bad way. Like, I certainly don't want to be eating babies or cockroaches. So that aside, let's talk about them as movies. I did feel like I got a bit more about both of you guys did a good job about your dystopian futures, though, all kidding aside. So for me, it came down to the points made about the movies themselves. And I feel that Joe gave me a little bit more in his closing, especially specifically with the performances and the depth of performance that is available in Snowpiercer. It was really close, but I think that kind of edged it out for me. So by a narrow margin, I'm giving the point to Team Spice. Good job, guys. Really,
I think
really
it's terrifying that you guys feel that way about the Wall-E thing. You should think on that a little bit more.
I don't really feel that way.
For the argument.
Yeah, that movie is
Jack does, though, and that's terrifying.
Look, what I'm trying to tell you is, if I'm going to be in the future and I'm going to be safe on a ship, at least I know that in the end, Wall-E will come and open my eyes, and then I'll get to have the wonderful future. But
yeah, but
I would rather eat a baby than be in that damn chair staring at a screen.
I'd rather know that while we're rebuilding Earth, I have full gym equipment that I can work out on and re-strengthen my bones on. Meanwhile, I can swim in the pool. I have a food processor that makes food for me, robots to take care of me while we're rebuilding
Earth. They don't
Earth.
look like they're working out at all, Jack. Who's working out there?
Because the movie just ended.
Better rules in that world, obviously, about you have to spend half an hour a day exercising like they do in space.
All of the things that happen after Wall-E ends are very hopeful to me. I'm going to feel just fine. So I'm okay with all the extra fatness in order to become thin after the movie goes to credits.
With no bones.
So what did the Twitter poll have to say?
So the poll came down in the same way you did. It went by just one vote in favor of Team Spice.
Wow. It was a really good fight. I really liked that fight a lot. Good job, guys. So we're going to move... Oh, sorry.
Snowpiercer is going to be our BFF for
because I had never seen it till last night. I was trusting Joe to like. I was gonna pick a different movie. He's like, "No, let's pick this. It's really good. You need to see this movie. I want to talk about it." I'm like, "Okay." And then we watched the trailer, and I was like, "What is this?"
Did you like the movie? I don't want to spoil your show, but did you enjoy it?
It was a good time.
Yeah, I really like that movie.
The trailer's awful.
Trailer's terrible.
So awfully. I'm like, Joe, what have you got us into? He's like, that just bad trailer, Ashley.
I saw that movie because of word of mouth. I wouldn't have seen it otherwise because the trailer.
Yeah, it didn't make any money here. Like, I think it was released on like 2 screens.
Yeah, I liked it though. I really liked it. Okay, so here's what we're going to do for round 3. Since there's only 2 teams, Kim, I'm going to ask you for some help here. I'm going to have you pick the category. This will keep it fair for the guys to fight. So the 3 categories remaining are guns and ammo, Jack of Diamonds, Nothing's Free on Waterworld. Which would you like them to fight?
Let's go Jack of Diamonds.
Jack of Diamonds. Awesome. Okay, so just as a reminder, Joe and Kimber are the ones shouting out answers. You can take some time or you can shout them right out. The question is, best movie character named Jack? And we watch as our teams lean in together to decide what to pick.
Jack Napier, the Joker from the 1989 Batman.
Okay.
Yeah. What was your? Okay.
Pick Jack from The Shining.
Jack Torrance.
And so now it's Jack Nicholson versus Nicholson.
Nicholson versus Nicholson. Fantastic. Who's going to go first for Team Spice?
I guess it'll be me.
Okay.
All right.
And could you please repeat the question?
I sure will. It's best movie character named Jack. So you're fighting for the character, not the actor, which is good because it's the same actor. So whenever you're ready, time starts when you begin speaking.
Whose turn is it?
All right, in the 1989 Batman, you know, Jack Napier, the Joker, that is just like such a great character. When we see like what his life is like before, like he turns into the Joker, and just like the whole performance is just so hammy, and that's why that was like the iconic Joker for such a long time, because it's just such a great character. He's so evil. Like when he's like throwing like all the money out at people, when he's dosing people to turn them into the likeness of him. It's a fun character when he's like running around and like listening to the Prince song on the boombox.
Time. Who's gonna go first for Team Odd Couple?
I will.
All right, Kimber, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, he is a fun character, but he's also kind of like a dated, corny interpretation of the Joker. Arguably, Heath Ledger is much, much better. It's also like a little dated and strange in the way that he is doing Prince stuff and has the corny makeup. My guy is timeless. Everybody will always be scared of how Jack is in The Shining because he gives a truly menacing and terrifying performance the whole time. And this is to his own family. What would he do to you if you happened to show up? He wouldn't be like just hesitating and tormenting you. He would just be chopping you to pieces with his axe. He's a monster the entire
time. Okay, Joe, 20 seconds.
Campy and like dated is not a bad thing. And comparing Heath Ledger to Jack Nicholson's performances of the Joker is like comparing apples to oranges. They're 100% different characters. It's not even relevant. Jack Torrance hates his family. And that's part of the reason that triggers him to go on a killing spree. So yeah, he's a pretty decent abusive father and a terrible husband. And he always was. It shows throughout the whole movie.
Time. Tom.
Okay, if we're going off of campy Jokers, I would say Cesar Romero's the better campy Joker. And as far as the Jack thing goes, there are people screaming, "No, Jack, don't." And as far as the Joker, they're saying, "No, Joker, don't." Like, your character's better known as the Joker. Alias Jack Napier for the Joker. For the movie. People are actually
time. All right, good job. Kim, I'm definitely going to need your help on this one. What did you think?
Well, the jab at the end there, that as a best Jack, the Joker's not really known as Jack. Like, it's just that one reference in the one Batman, and that's kind of it. That was kind of an interesting punch to sneak in there. But they both hit the same thing, that, you know, the performance is defining. You know, in The Shining, it's timeless, and Batman, it defined the character straight up until Ledger kind of usurped the definitive Joker title.
Who do you lean towards?
I think maybe The Shining would be the one I'd lean towards.
I got to be honest, I was really, really close. But that punch at the end, that he's not even Jack Napier, he's the Joker, I thought was really needed, because I wasn't sure I was with you on your ending, on your final thought, until you punched that in. I thought that was perfect. So for me, Odd Couple, you get the point. So really close. Well done. Really well done. So that means by 1 point, Spice is ahead. We're going into our 2-point final round, which means someone will win today. Someone's going to win anyway. There's only 7 points in the game. But we're going into round 3. So this is our mystery round, and we're going to have a lot of fun with my mystery round, because I'm going to have some fun with you guys. So first, before we begin, I'd like to go Tom and Kimber. Who would like to go first? Who's going first? Who's going second? Have you guys decided?
First.
You guys are going to go first? No, I'm sorry. I meant, are you guys going to go first?
Oh. Yeah, I'm going to go first.
Yeah,
first. Yeah.
So first. Okay. Got it. And that means Joe and Ashley as Team Spice will go second. Now, before we begin, Team Odd Couple, let me read the question and then get both of your answers here. So the question is, who is the best TV couple of all time? Now, before we began the show, you guys actually picked 2 choices. Can I have both of your choices real quick? Just tell me what you picked.
Both of our choices?
Yeah, what were the 2 choices you guys were looking at?
Marshall and Lily Erickson from How I Met Your Mother.
Okay.
And Ben Wyatt and Leslie Knope from Parks and Recreation.
Awesome. And for best couple on Team Spice, which 2 did you pick?
We chose Bob and Linda Belcher from Bob's Burgers, and Sterling Archer and Lana Kane from Archer.
Awesome. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. This is actually going to be a plot twist round. We're going to change things up just a little bit. So what we're going to do is, Kimber, we're going to start with you. You're going to pick a number from 1 to 8.
4.
Okay. Ashley, you're next. Pick a number 1 to 8, not number 4.
6.
Okay. Tom, not the 2 numbers chosen.
3.
Okay. And Joe.
We'll go with 8.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. You guys will be arguing best TV couple, but we're going to change things around a little bit, and we're going to change your couples. So Team Odd Couple, you will be fighting for Lana Kane from Archer and Leslie Knope from Parks and Recreation. They are now a couple, and they're going to be the best TV couple for you guys. Team Spice, you will be arguing Lily Erickson from How I Met Your Mother and Linda Belcher from Bob's Burgers. So it is an all LGBTQ pro round here for number 3. These are your couples, guys. So take a few moments and think about it. We're going to come up with a good argument for why these are the TV's best couple. I hope you enjoy this plot twist. I'm going to hear angry things from Tom when we're done. So take a few moments. So Team Odd Couple, you guys are going to go first. So think about it for a moment, how you want to combine your couples. Again, we're going Leslie Knope and Lana Kane, and then Lily Erickson and Linda Belcher for Team Spice. Kimber's going to lead us off in just a few moments. Meanwhile, on the TUFF channel tonight, like I said, as a reminder, we're going to have a new episode of BFF. On Friday, just dropped a new episode of the DVD Bunker. I think he did The Gate. So definitely check that movie out. He did a really good job on that. And he's also doing a podcast version of his show now that you can check out on iTunes if you want to hear a longer version of the DVD Bunker. Kim, what do you got going on?
Not a whole lot, unfortunately, at the moment.
Well, you're fact checking, and that is amazing.
Yeah, trying to anyway. Between YouTube chat and Twitter feed, and there's a lot to juggle. I do not envy the people that do this on the regular, who are now currently debating amongst themselves.
So speaking of the debate amongst yourselves, Team Odd Couple, are you ready?
Sure.
All right. Kimber, whenever you're ready, give us an introduction into your argument for...
Sure. Here we have 2 women who have kind of government jobs-ish, but I think they balance each other out really well, because you have somebody like Leslie who's enthusiastic and smart and charming, and she's really going to be balanced by somebody like Lana, who is beautiful but can get a little abrasive, and she's the muscle. So I think you have 2 characters that really like form one whole and are stronger together than they are separately. I also think if Lana is dating Leslie post Archer, she's going to be a lot happier with somebody like Leslie, because Leslie is so charming and sweet and caring of a person and really thoughtful. So I think that anybody would be happy with Leslie, and I think that somebody like Lana could benefit a lot from being in a relationship with her. I think they'd make a good pair.
Awesome. Who's going to go first for me on Team Spice?
I guess that'll be me.
All right, Ashley. Tell me about your couple.
All right. So first of all, we have Linda and Lily. Alliteration always makes for really great couples. Like, their names are going to look so beautiful monogrammed together on everything, the L and L. So it looks so beautiful in cursive. So there you have like that kind of little aesthetic thing going for them. But then like character-wise, like Linda is a hardworking person, and then Lily is a very ambitious person. Like, she has dreams and aspirations of being an artist. But she's also like a really good partner. So like these 2 women are going to help like build each other up. Like Linda's going to like help Lily like with her dreams and like telling her like, you should just go for it, honey. Like, you know, like whatever you want to do, I'll support you. I'll go anywhere with you. And then Lily is going to like, you know, build Linda's confidence up as well. It's going to be a very interesting pair, because when you look at Linda, you know, like for a sitcom character, even though it's animated, she's not like the most traditional looking character. And then you have the balance of that versus Lily, who is more of a traditional sitcom looking character. So that'll be like a good foil for each other. in the looks department, which is not maybe like the most dynamic of a character foil, but at least it's something where, like, you know, like fans of like one of them could like stick to one side versus the other. And again, there's just they're gonna be really supportive of each other and try to help each other out versus like, okay, well, your dream is needed to be put on the back burner so that we can do this other thing. Linda will be willing to go anywhere that Lily would want to go.
All right, guys, you can
including Italy.
All right, so as a side note, two things. Linda and Lily works really well together because they're both artistic souls. Linda loves music, Lily loves art. They would work really well together because they have very similar mindsets. With Lana and Leslie, you have an issue with the fact that Leslie wants to be president one day, and Lana works in clandestine services. And you can't have that together and not cause all sorts of backlash, like all sorts of mud being thrown.
Leslie is not worried about putting her job on the line for love. With Ben Wyatt, that was her working in the same building was very taboo. I feel like if Leslie really cares about Lana, she'll do the same thing, and they'll figure out a way to do it. I also think
there's a dramatic difference.
It'd be really nice because our couple would be able to steal your monogram towels because we're also LL. And you know what? They would have a blast doing it. Whereas I feel like Lily would be driven insane by Tina. There's many characters like that brought upon How I Met Your Mother, and Lily is usually the one who has the least tolerance for them.
Because I'm pretty sure the baggage of Sterling Archer, which unless he's like just completely dead or something, would still in theory be in the picture, because Lana's daughter is also Archer's daughter. So Archer would have to show up in the picture every so often if we're bringing kids and associated characters into it. And that would just drive Leslie up the wall. And I don't think
Are you kidding me? Leslie is literally the easiest, friendliest, nicest person to get along with in the entire world. Nobody is bubblier, more upbeat, and more personable than she is. I think she'd be fine. And also, like, you were talking about giving each other's dreams up and stuff. I don't think that they would deal with that in this relationship, because you have two very independent women who would be totally okay with letting the other woman do what they needed to do to follow their dreams. I think that you're wrong about our couple.
It's not a matter of whether or not they would be willing to. It's a matter of the fact that, like, if Leslie wants to be the president one day, and there's a very different like level between the Pawnee City Council and the presidency of the United States, in theory, that having an assassin for a wife would be a very challenging thing to deal with.
I would love to see the smear campaign for that. That would be hilarious. And Tom, you had brought up the whole children thing. Well, Lily has 3 kids. Linda has 3 kids. Hello, Brady Bunch. This is going to be so awesome. Different personalities and like shenanigans to be had by everybody. Like, I want to see
Leslie
this
has
show.
Triplets. they all got kids. That one's like even, I think.
But see, I think also Lily would get along with Louise. Like you said, she would hate Tina, but I'm pretty sure she'd love Louise.
They do like the shenanigans.
You're not going to stay with a person because you like their kid.
I don't know.
That's a pretty important hallmark.
Have done that before.
Yeah, that's a pretty. I mean, life experiences aside, that's a pretty important deter or pretty important attractor for some people. That, like, I like this person, but if I hate their kid, I'm not going to stay with them. But
here's the thing: I was really scared that you guys were going to fight Lana and Archer, because Lana is so I'm trying to use the right word. Archer doesn't treat her correctly at all. No one treats each other in a loving way in that movie, except for you. I was scared you were going to argue the butler and his wartime buddy, because that's the best relationship in the show. But can you imagine Lana coming home and a fresh, big ass scrapbook made of her daughter? Like, that's the kind of person Leslie is.
I'm happy for Lana when I hear this.
Yeah, like, this makes me think that Lana and her daughter are going to have a stable future. And we also know that Leslie, being in government, has done things for the LGBT community. Reason that they would see eye to eye on many things.
That's not going to change a lot here.
Lana loves penguins.
Because like Linda, like, I'm pretty sure Bob's bisexual. There's a few ticks in episodes that hint to that, and Linda probably knows that. Bob's friends that are from all across the spectrum show up all the time, like Marshmallow, who's one of my favorite characters.
Marshmallow's great.
Marshmallow is great. That's not an argument there, because they're both supportive. You want to talk about how like Lana would be better off with Archer? I'm pretty sure Linda and Lily would be better off together, because they're unfortunately in Bob's Burgers.
No, Lily and Marshall have the best relationship ever. I was going to compare them to you guys. They're together for damn near a decade when the show starts. Lily is not the same person without Marshall. They really are codependent, and to take her away from Marshall is really cruel. It's really cruel.
You would only be dealing with Lily when
I'm not taking them away, so that's not even part of this argument.
Jack's the one that separated everybody. Don't blame us.
I did it.
Yeah, you're saying that she would be better off in this relationship, and that's simply not the truth.
So
I do think Lana is better off in this relationship.
You're telling me that when
there's a thing that you got to understand with Archer. Yes, he is a shitty human being to use that language, and I don't like to use it very frequently on the show, but he tries to change for her because he does care about her. He works to change for her.
Guys like that never change.
Yeah, that's the biggest excuse in the book.
He almost died because when he found out she was pregnant, when he found out she was pregnant, he sacrificed himself to give her the oxygen helmet so she could make it to safety instead of him. And yeah, he almost dies a lot, but he doesn't almost die for Lana all the time. When he does, it's pretty impactful.
I don't know. I watched some clips and I saw Lana say to Archer that she would rather lose the baby than be with him. That doesn't sound like a healthy relationship. I don't think she would ever say anything like that to Leslie.
Neither of them are emotionally healthy people.
That's why they were the second choice, not the
But that's why this is important, because I feel like Lana can be a healthy person with Leslie, whereas Lily would be worse off.
She willingly went into the jobs of assassination. Like she went into works in Black Ops.
So when Tina's sister Gail starts trying to make out with Lily and stuff, and Tina, I'm sorry, am I using the wrong?
Linda.
And when Linda, because in the series, for anyone who doesn't know, Linda's sister Gail makes out with Bob. Bob's like, look, I was at the dentist, I was under drugs, I kissed your sister thinking it was you. She's like, that's wonderful. Last time I had a boyfriend and my sister thought she was dating him. Like, he's like, well, what if she tries to sleep with me? And she's like, oh, that's great too. Whatever you have to do, Bobby. Like, she is not
the most important
a right-minded 100% for anyone.
Especially not good for Lily. Lily has only been with Marshall. She is a very jealous person. I don't think she would react very well at all to kind of be like, hey, I was offended that this happened. I hope that you're not really upset about it. And then to receive no affection or no anything, really, just, oh, that's great that you cheated on me.
By it, Linda's like a very open person. She would be offended on her behalf. So like, she's just
but Lily is not.
Because Bob wasn't necessarily
Lily's
offended.
Not an open person.
Bob was concerned that Linda would be offended. That was his only real concern there.
Well, but throughout the whole episode, he's trying to get away from Gail. Like Linda puts her her spouse or whoever her partner is going to be in awkward situations all the time. Lily would not do well under those situations.
You're talking 1 point though, just like one.
Like there's many times where Linda has put Bob into an awkward situation.
So this is a perfect time to talk about it. Let's go into final thoughts because it's going to be Joe and Tom here duking it out. Tom, you're first. Why don't you start your final thoughts? Why is your couple the best? And you can finish that argument too if you like, whatever you like.
Look, when I feel like it's necessary that we have to examine the relationships that these people were in beforehand. We have on our side Lana and Archer. A negative thing. It's not will they or won't they. It's please don't stay away. Like it's cringe to watch them try to have a stable relationship. And then you have our other choice, which was remind me, Leslie and Ben Wyatt. And Leslie is just a force to be reckoned with. Will do anything for the people she loves. It's not just her spouse. Anyone in her circle that she can help, she will. And that is such a positive influence on Lana. When you go and you take Marshall away from Lily, you are taking away, like, they have been together since, it'd be like, I don't want to make the comparison, but it would be like taking Joe away from Ashley and then be like, well, they'd be matched up with a better person. No, they know their experiences with that person for over how many years. I just don't think we can expect Lily to be the same person and match her with Linda, and Linda would drive me up the fucking wall. Sorry, but I'm serious, and I don't think that Lily would deal well with her at all.
She's animated, so I doubt she's offended.
The voice actor. I apologize to the man who plays her.
So, Joe, close us out with your final argument.
So you try to bring up that like maybe they wouldn't like she wouldn't work well with someone else because Marshall and Lily were together forever. But Linda is an open person, and Marshall lies to Lily all the time and hides stuff from Lily about jobs, like when she was in Italy and he took a judgeship and all sorts of stuff like that. Like hides it from her constantly, and it's not healthy. It's not right. Like a white lie here and there. Did you do the dishes? I haven't done them yet. I'll do them later. I'm not going to do them later. That's natural, but like hiding career choices, that stuff my stepdad did, and he's terrible. It's a miserable situation. Linda is open and supportive and would not lie about a single thing for this type of stuff. Like, and so it's just, I don't know. I think they would be a happier couple together because they're just supportive of each other. Super supportive, and yeah.
Awesome.
Can I get a fact check?
Fantastic.
Fact check on how many times Marshall has lied versus how many times Linda has lied.
One lie from Marshall.
All right, guys, let's go to Kim. Talk a little bit about facts. Obviously, we kind of twisted it up here a bit, but if there are any character inconsistencies, now's the time to point them out. And then I definitely want to know what the audience thinks about today's plot twist.
Okay, so the one definitive fact was that they said it was mentioned that Lily only ever had Marshall, but that's not actually true. She had a boyfriend in high school named Scooter.
Yeah, never been. She's only slept with Marshall, is what I meant.
But that was
True story.
Chat jumped straight on that. They were like, "Whoa, time out." So that was, and
Good job, Chat.
He looked a little like Kurt Cobain.
Bob being bi is a somewhat accepted fan theory. It's not formally confirmed in the show that I could find, but there's at least a lot of people are like, yeah, he's monogamous, but he totally is kind of vibe out of the fan base. So
there's one of the Thanksgiving episodes really hammers that home.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they're pretty open on that front. And then there were a couple of suggestions out there. As always, we had our resident Australian or New Zealander. I forget where they're from.
Sam?
Yes. Throughout Faulty Towers. The main couple from that, Basil Fawlty and his wife. We had Dan and Roseanne as a classic example of couples.
Great choice.
People were throwing out traditional pairs rather than trying to do some kind of hodgepodge mix and match. So they would have been in the same boat as our teams had they actually been trying to make this debate. But yeah.
Awesome. Did they enjoy it? Did they like the twist?
It seemed like it. People were a little thrown off at first. They're like, wait, what's going on? But they kind of got into it once it started rolling.
Awesome. I try to keep it interesting here on Fan Friction. Okay, guys, so let's pick a winner. I think you guys did a fantastic job, both of you guys. But let's just tell the audience real quick. Both of our contestants today, both groups are actual couples, and they're the real winners today. So Joe and Ashley and Tom and Kimber, you can't clap for yourselves, but you might as well do it. Thank you again for doing the show. I'm really glad. I've been wanting to do a couples episode for a while now, and you guys are the couple of choice. So let's pick a winner. So I think you guys did a really good job meshing your couples. I think both of you had really good arguments for why your couples would actually be a good balance for each other. I think both of you have kind of a past you have to look at to deal with Lana and Linda. But I feel like one team really sold me on how good of a fit the two would be together. And it was close, but I think that really did it for me, and that was Team Odd Couple. You guys really sold me on how good Leslie and Lana would be for each other, and how great Lana would, like, how it's improving Lana's life to be away from Archer and have someone who actually cares about them. I think that's really the thing that sold it for me. So good job. Team Odd Couple, you just won the game.
Yeah, that was really close. That was a good one.
That was great because we've never seen How I Met Your Mother, and we didn't watch any episodes. We just like looked up stuff. I'm like, I bet they'll pick these people. They're popular.
Clearly, because Joe thinks that Marshall lies to Lily all the time, and that's the biggest nonsense I've ever heard in TUFF history.
All the Wikipedias that he kept things from her, like temporarily.
You want to hear a lie he did? He told her he didn't like olives because he thought it would be better for their compatibility thing. So he pretended not to like olives for 10 years. That was
she likes olives.
Nice.
They tell each other every single thing in the world.
So guys, congratulations. That was a great fight. I really appreciate you guys doing a couples battle today. We had to switch things up for this show, and I think we did a really good job. So thank you very much. Let's take a few moments to go around the table and find out where we can see everybody. Let's start with Team Spice. Where will we see you next?
Well, we have BFF tonight at
7 Eastern.
7 Eastern over Snowpiercer.
Yeah, on this channel. So tune in then. We'll be talking about the movie and the fight and just all sorts of fun things to be had. If a lot of people guessed correctly on our Twitter poll, so
many.
Everybody, apparently our riddles are not as good as I thought they were. I need to work on my riddle game. But anybody who entered a suggestion, and as long as they're following the Geek to My Nerd handle, will be entered into a drawing to win their choice of either a BFF sticker, or we still have some of Janine's lovely Nubia design. And so that'll be happening live on our show. And we'll be having a lot of fun. And
then after that, probably about an hour after that ends, we'll be doing the next part of our BFF plays over ROM 2064.
Yeah, which is like a dystopian cyberpunk in the vein of Snatcher and Blade Runner, and a really dark game, apparently. Tom and Kimber have been at every episode.
Surprisingly dark.
And that's over on your Geek to My Nerd channel, correct?
Which you can see all of our Twitter handles down in our lower third here. They're all right here. And yeah, you can find us there.
Great job today, guys. You did awesome. Thank you so much. Let's go to Tom and Kimber. Tell us all about the stuffs.
Well, you can find both of us over at Odd Shaped Channel. We are the, co-creators over there. We're actually producing some other content currently. We have Mormozine's Mormo Zone on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. I am also hosting a cryptozoology podcast with my buddy Cal, the Jersey Devil himself. And we are also doing, Kimber and Nolan have a...
we're doing a Doctor Who recap show, but in the meantime, while the show's not on, we're doing some top 5 lists for Doctor Who. That's Space-Time Rewind. What else? OSP, as always.
Yeah, well, we just dropped the 11th Doctor's... 10th, I'm sorry. 10th Doctor's, keep wanting to say Be Kind Rewind, Space-Time Rewind, and we're also doing Let's Plays, and we're rotating them out. So we're doing the 1997 Fallout, like Jack mentioned,
and then Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing, as well as a Nuzlocke Rules version of Pokemon Sapphire. So there's a bunch of stuff over at Odd Shape Channel. You can check us out. I'm sure our thing is somewhere around there.
And Kim, tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at _Kim Hanley. Nice and easy for everybody to remember. I'm always on there to debate movies and TV and everything else that's going on. I've got a couple Gamer Grudge fights coming up over the next couple of weeks, so that's going to be a lot of fun. You guys should come check that out. It's a bit like fan fiction, but video games and board games, and we're having fun getting that spun up. And I'm getting big into Disney Twitter, which is an interesting experience. There's a lot of ups and downs to that, so we're having some fun. And I'm going to be back at the park in a couple weeks to do the Wine and Dine half marathon. So I'm pretty excited for that, and I'll be dominating my Twitter feed for the next week or so.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw you're trying to get on every ride. You almost did it, right? You missed it by 3.
Yeah, it's the WDW 47 challenge. Is doing all 47 rides at Walt Disney World in one day. It's not easy. I got pretty close, but Splash Mountain was closed for refurbishment, and there was a couple that I just didn't make it before they stopped running for the day. But a little bit of practice and I'll get there.
Awesome. And guys, I'm Jack Shipley. I'm JRS Pitboy 2008 on Twitter. I'm also here on the TUFF channel. But before we go, I teased on Twitter. Hopefully you're still here watching the show, because we have something pretty awesome coming up. On November 8th, a certain author is going to be making her appearance on the TUFF channel as a special guest judge. Why is she going to be a special guest judge? Well, first, let me tell you that Alicia Malone will be here on November 8th, so I hope you'll tune in for that show. And she's going to judge a very special episode that will also feature Kimber, Jonathan Youngblood, and another mystery fighter will make an appearance, and they will be battling it out for a chance to come back in 2 weeks and fight a very special guest. You are not going to want to miss the show on November 8th. It's going to be amazing. We hope to see you there. Guys, that's it. That's our show. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks on November 8th. Excuse me. I said November 8th. It's November 5th because I can't read a calendar. So forget everything I said about the 8th. It's November 5th. Remember the 5th of November. It's November 5th. Don't miss November 5th. If you're showing up on the 8th, there won't be anything to watch. Or you already missed it. Doesn't matter. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.